Okay, hi, I'm Antonia, or I go by Marcia online. Um, I just wanted to talk about the time I came to this world because I remember it very distinctly, like detailed how I came down here from heaven. Like, okay, let's start from the beginning. I was awesome. Like the doors opened up, and then there was it was all white on the inside. Like the light was so warm and inviting to you that it just makes you not want to look away. Like like a warm sun that isn't burning your eyes, but it was a white light on the walls and on the floor, the ceiling, and there was these set of stairs, and then it curved around the corner, and when we all ran out, all of us did, we we saw these big wells, real big wells, and and they were like bricks, kind of like bricks. And when we all finally made it to the well, we we all looked down to see what's in there, in the wells, and there was like about maybe 4 or 5 of them, and I wasn't counting them at the time. But like everybody gathered around these wells, all of us on each well, and then also, like, when I hear the last people coming running towards the wells, I hear a man say behind me, he's like, "Hey, see shit, hold up." So I looked behind me, and I was like, "Hey, James, come check this out." And then, like, he was like walking and he was looking down, like he was sad for me to, like, to see me go. And so when we looked down at this well, and I can tell it was getting bigger as we were getting closer, and the earth was like rotating to the right, and it was like rotating slowly, but it was going. You can tell that it was turning, rotating, and then we were all looking at it, and everybody was talking about it and all that, and like just whatever they were saying. I wasn't focused on them. I was looking at the earth, and I can see the stars around it, all around it. And then the guy that I was talking to, James, he comes up beside me, and then he jumps on. No, wait, no, that was before they everybody started jumping, or after those. But anyways, everybody started jumping into the wells. People were like taking a seat off the edge and then leaping off their butt. Some people were doing flips going in and then just jumping in. And then the last couple that that jumped, they were holding hands, and it was a man and a woman, and they were wearing these clothes, like one was wearing like overalls, but it was like black and gray, and wearing a dress that was past her knees, and then the other man was wearing like a suit, and he was like, they were both looking down, and they look at each other, and then the woman looked past me, and then it's like she was trying to memorize the area, and then they jump together, and then James, he comes up behind me, and then he did like Spider-Man on the edge. He leaped onto the edge, and then he was like kneeling on it. And then, oh, my hair. Anyways, and he, at first he almost like fell in there, but he was like, woo, woo. So he was like, he caught himself, and then like he didn't want to go in there. So so I was like looking down at him, and then I look at him, and then I look down again, and then I was like looking around a bit, and I can see that same entrance, but it was like reversed or switched the other way. Like everybody open when the doors opened, everybody came flooding in to those wells. Anyways, and then and then I was like, I looked at him and I was like, so am I gonna make it? Am I gonna make it? And then am I gonna make it? And then he's like looking at me, and then he looks down at the well, and then at Earth, and then he's like going like that, and then he goes like this, like he nods his head real fast after shaking his head no, and then that's when I jumped. I jumped into the well, and then all of a sudden, like the stars that were so still, they started to like like chalk going around me, and then like I was still, like I wasn't spinning, but I can tell whatever I was in was spinning really fast around me. And then like the stars that were moving, like shooting stars, they start spinning around me real fast. And then I was looking down, and then I kept my eyes open because I didn't want to miss a thing. I didn't want to blink. So I just like kept them open. And then I was like, I started praying, and I was like, God, no matter what, no matter how sick I'll be, no matter what happens, I'll always be yours. And then I was trying, I was telling him all these things like God this, God that. And I was like confessing that, or telling him that I was gonna always be his no matter what happens, like no matter what happens. And then And then all of a sudden I see the sky turning blue, the clouds like pushed to the side because, or like it wasn't pushed, but it was like like opened up for me to go through. And then all of a sudden I see this roof in this town, little village or town where I'm from. And then all of a sudden, like I go through the roof, and then I'm in this little what feels like a car seat. And then I remember looking up, and I see my mom looking tired, like she just had a long day. And then I was thinking like, oh, it's you. And then I started smiling at her, and then she just looked at me like she was tired, like exhausted. And then I could hear a sound, like loud sounds, like music playing in the background in the other room. And then I remember looking at it. And then I was like looking at the wall. And then she was like on the toilet. and then she was like peeing or something. I don't know, but that's too much information for you guys. But yeah, and then she was on the toilet, and then so like I looked back at her, and then I was like looking at her, and then all of a sudden my memory just goes blank, like black. And then yeah, that's how I came down to earth. But yeah, James, he was wearing this green long t-shirt. It looked like those African, not African American, those African clothing. that the long t-shirt, and then he was wearing pants. I forgot what color pants they were. And then because I wasn't looking down at him, looking him up and down, but I remember looking at his shirt, and it was like gold trimmings, like gold designs on around his shirt, even like the gold edging on his t-shirt. And and uh and I always wondered, like, why is green my favorite color? But and now I realize it was always because of him, because it was like our color, which I'll explain more later on. But this is just the story that I first started with, telling you guys about my dreams, visions, and how I came here. And I'll start posting more videos about my dreams and visions. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from perfect. Like, I swear when I play games, and but I pray, like, almost, like, I don't want to say almost throughout my day, but I pray like every day, sometimes every other day. But I try and put God in my mind and my heart before I do anything. Like, I don't know, just anything. And I don't know, that's it for now. I hope you enjoy this video. Hope it wasn't too long for you guys, because it's almost 12 minutes, so I'll cut it here at 12 minutes. Have a good day. Anyways.